Beat TV family. Catch us live on your TV screen.
What up, beautiful people? You are still tuned into Ekse right here on channel 263. Welcome back, welkom terug. As we said at the start of the show, we are sitting down with some youngsters who will be telling us more about human rights. And also we are joined by our wonderful resident lawyer, Patricia, who will also be sharing her insight on it. So we're about to get into that conversation now. So be part of it by heading over to our social media platforms. But let's get straight into it. Yes. Thank you so much for joining us, guys. How are you today?
We are fine, and you?
We are fine. Okay. We're also good, thank you.
I think what's important, TK, is to give our guests a chance to introduce themselves and tell us who they are and your role up Ikamva.
Igama lami ndingu-Ayakanya Mpande, and I am a student in Ikamva Youth.
Okay.
Igama lami ndingu-Ayole Nondolwana. I'm a student in Ikamva Youth.
Okay. Hi guys, I'm Kamalam Simtemile Uzile, and I'm a tutor, a volunteer at Ikamva Youth.
Okay, that's beautiful. So like we said, we're talking about human rights. So the first things first, can you explain what is human rights? You know?
Human rights is whereby unelungelo lokwenza into ofuna uyenza. Like South Africa mos umuntu unamalungelo akhe. So that means umuntu akakwazi uviolate amalungelo akho. Like umuntu ilungelo akuba ngakenza into afuna uyenza, but enze sure lento ayenzayo affect onye umuntu kakubi.
Yeah, that's true. Now, before we figure with what is human rights, can anyone tell me the history of human rights? How we got to the place where we're at right now, where abai umuntu unemalungelo akhe?
Eqaleni was like before, probably say before I was born in 1990s or something. There was like apartheid whereby black people have no right. They were maltreated, like they were like slave. They were treated like object.
Yeah.
So as time goes by, we will have our heroes, as you know, Nelson Mandela, Winnie, what. So they fought for us to have this right that we have today. So what happened is that as we were maltreated, we fought. They fought like as the youth of this today to like have rights. So what happened is that they fought against the what they called these people. The Boaz people, they fought against the
system.
They fought against us so that each person here in South Africa can have a right, can have a say in what is put out there for everyone to see. So they can have a say, like I don't want to do this, I do want to do this. Yeah. So they can have a say in what they want to learn, what they want not to learn. So they have so they can have rights to their bodies, so they can have right to know what their history is what is their culture is, their religion, so that they can know themselves who they are. So I think that is right.
Yeah. Knowing that, back in those days, you know, and we are still celebrating human rights today. You know, how do you celebrate it, and what significance does it have, knowing that? No man, back in those days, silwelwe. So let's continue the fight, even though abantu who fought for us back then are not here anymore.
So for me, Zimbabwe is okay, we free apa. Ndingakwazi express but ezinye izinto like I feel like we have a long way to go. Like singakwazi express. For instance, racism ayikaphelanga. Ingaphela but ayiphelanga. Freedom of education, like we're not free, like we're fighting for fees right now. You understand? And well, like I don't feel like bandi akwazi express voice yam, even though ndingavota, but ayibalulekanga lonto ke ivote yami igqibile iphelele phayana, but ezinye izinto ke ngoku if ndifuna utshintsha like community okanye having access to resources esenzelwe zona apha kwi-community, like andikwazi ukuzisebenzisa kodwa ivote yam kuthiwa mandivote. You understand? So there are things endingathi ewe si-free kuzo and kwezinye like we're not free.
Yeah. Now, Patricia, I'd like to know from you, right, for people that are watching at home and even for our students and mentors that are here, what are the most basic human rights that we as the youth need to know and need to be sure that they are followed through and not violated in any way possible?
Okay. I think it was quite an interesting question when you asked the history of human rights.
Yeah.
So what I find interesting is that your human rights are something that's fundamental to you. You are born with rights. The only thing we can talk about when it comes to history of human rights is the declaration of it. Otherwise, even before Christ, people always had rights. But however, nations came together in 1968 to declare that every single state must acknowledge and respect these rights. However, on the same point, you realize that even though these rights were declared in 1968, you find that most of African countries later on acknowledged and practiced these rights later on when they found their independence. So basically what we can say is that appreciation of human rights, it's a culture as a society. Until we educate ourselves, live by those teachings, then we can actually get to a point where we exercise all our human rights. So in as much as we can say that you have the right to be protected from racism or discrimination, it does not make much a difference if the next person who is infringing those rights does not know. So it has to be a procedure, a step till we all get to the point where we respect each other's rights.
Yeah.
And ladies, what are some of the rights that you know personally?
Some of the rights that I know.
We all have rights. We
Yeah.
say before we were born, we had rights, you know, before Christ. So what are your rights?
I have a right to freedom of speech,
Uh-huh.
and I have a right to get education.
Yes.
I have a right to express myself the way I want to express myself.
Yes.
So I have the right to get no.
You have rights.
You have a
Nathan.
right
You
to
have
say what you
What are
want to
some
say,
of
right?
your
I have a
rights?
right to have a mother. I have
Yeah.
a right to have a mother. I have a right to have an identity.
Yeah.
What are some of the rights that come to your mind?
Like Jembe Sichek, right to life, equality,
Yeah.
right to vote,
That's an important
Yeah.
one.
expression,
Mm.
freedom of expression, and shelter, right to shelter. Yeah, those that I can think of right now.
Yeah. And I know, Patricia, you know, with rights come responsibilities.
Totally.
So what do we exactly mean? Just expand on that briefly. Uti, yes, we have rights, but we also have responsibilities. Those rights come with responsibilities. So as they've mentioned the rights, what are some of the responsibilities that they're supposed to, you know, consider as well?
So we have three set of rights. We have the first generation, second and third generation. With all the three different generation of rights, there is a person who is responsible to make sure that those rights are experienced or are practiced. For instance, the first generation rights, these are rights for individual and political rights. So states must respect that as individuals, you guys have political rights, the right to vote, the right to be in associations for whomever you want to lead you. We also have the second generation rights, which are your socio-economic rights. Again, the state has to make sure that you guys have the right to water, the right to education and all that. Then lastly, we have the third generation rights, which are collective rights. As a community, we can come collectively together to say that we will fight against racism.
Yeah.
We will fight for our country. So then now, as individuals, we come collectively to practice those rights.
Yeah. Now, Patricia, now it's okay. You know, this one time I was reading, I came across something, and it was quite a while back. I don't know how true it is. That's why I'm bringing it up now. It said that as a student, a student, most probably like a student in high school, like a learner, right?
Yeah.
You have the right to go to the bathroom when you need to go to the bathroom. And I found that quite interesting because in most cases, you have to ask to go to the bathroom. But that article was opposing all of those things, saying that you have the right to get up and go to the bathroom. How true is that? And with that, wouldn't it disrupt the class system if we all just needed the bathroom and we just got up and walked to the
Anytime.
bathroom?
Well, there's no right that's not limited. All rights are limited to the extent that you do not infringe the next person's rights when you're exercising your art. So if you really want to go to the toilet, you have the right to go, but then make sure when you do that, you're not disrupting the whole class. So you have to take certain responsibilities and duties to exercise your rights. In this case, you have to ask the teacher that you want to leave.
Yeah.
Yeah. And how important is knowing your right? Because you can, you know, your parents can say, do this, and then you're like, no, I have rights, I don't want to do it. So, like, obviously, knowledge is very important for you to have it. What's your take?
I think you have to know which rights you have and to what extent you can exercise them,
Those
because
rights.
you mustn't find yourself in a position where in exercising your right, you're infringing the next person's rights. For instance, you have the right to play music, but if you're going to play music when there's a student next to you who's studying, now you're infringing their right to privacy.
Yeah, and that's funny when you say like the whole thing about not infringing rights. I remember a story when I was a bit younger and I was learning about rights. I used to tell my mother when she says, do that, and then like, I've got rights. I've got rights. And then she's like, hey, which makes sense now because as much as I had rights as a young kid, I was also infringing her rights as my parent. Bana, Magati, you need to do this because we are in Kulisa, you know. But yeah.
As a tutor at Gamba, what are some of the activities that you do?
We offer tutoring, academic support to kids, local kids from various local high schools. And mentoring sessions.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we do mentor them in any aspect and taking them to
Okay.
like, yeah.
We're coming back.
We're coming
We're
back, don't
coming
worry.
back. We'll get to know more about what they think and what human rights are. Head on over to our social media platforms. But right now, let's take a breather. We'll see you now.
See you very, very soon. Do not touch that remote. Can we please? You have the right to touch it, but if you touch it, you're infringing my right. I'm joking. See you soon.
CTV family, catch us.